Hello, this is Hunter Davis, and this is my final project for leadership and communications class. And the book that chose to read was Leadership Process and Follower Identity. This really wasn't your typical leadership book. It kind of went from a different angle. It went from the follower side of how they viewed leadership rather than the leadership and how they viewed everybody else and how they went through roles of what leaders should do. The authors of this book are Robert G. Lord and Douglas J. Brown. I couldn't find much about these men. I know they were heavily involved in trying to find uh, outcomes of like what was the best leadership role and how to identify these things and implement them into different companies so they could be the most successful. All these books about how leadership should do this and leadership should do that. Finally, someone went to the other side and asked the people who were really doing the work and how they viewed them. So, why was this book written? This book was written to inform the people about different leadership styles. This book was written in the follower's perspective, so how do followers view the leaders rather than the leadership's perspective, like most leadership books are written, which I stated in the slide before that this book is kind of an opposite of what you're usually used to. It talks about how the followers look at what leaders do, finding out what the leaders do best in the different roles rather than the leaders focusing on the followers. I think this is a very important deal because not everybody on the leader's position knows what's best for everything. I think that sometimes people need to take a step back and kind of figure out what's going on and kind of take a different view from what everybody else is seeing. Um, this who is this book intended for? The intended target subject matter would be the people who are following the roles rather than the ones within the leadership role. Um, is how they look and act each and everyday role, such as the way they interact with people and other followers, um, how they're self motivated, and how they may do not need someone there pushing them every day of every second. And I think that is a very unique way of looking at things. Um, like I said, with this unique view within this book, I think that it would be very beneficial if people throughout the whole company, from the lowest person on the totem pole, to the CEO of company, the audience is very broad when it comes to this book, which is a great thing. I think that some books are just solely targeted towards a leadership role rather than a person who is a follower who views the leaders each and every day and how they go through their business. Um, what does this book have to do with leadership? Um, I think many people look at leaders for what they are supposed to do in many different situations, but everyone has a situation that they need to step back and look at. Not everything goes a certain way or by the book. Things can change, and some people need to step back and kind of look at the big picture from maybe, in this case, the follower's view. Um, Leadership also, it's a way that we can improve on situations, take vital input that could end up saving someone's life if it came down to that kind of situation. I just think that the way we look at things need to be changed, and this book has a very good view and perspective on the way situations should be handled. Um, this book is very heavily based on research and theory, with the most critical constraints from social and cognitive perceptions of social justice. Um, about um, the book shows different methods how followers can reflect what people in leadership roles do in a way that interact with other employees. When reading the book, the quote that I really liked came from a Disney and Reagan quote, who shared a common ideal. And this is a quote: "Leadership cannot simply be reduced to a single great mind or individual. Instead, this quote suggests that accomplishments of great people are best indirect operating through accomplishments and actions of others." What I think that means is that I think that if you're working together and people are getting along and people are respecting one another, things are going to get done a lot faster. And I think that this quote is very important and powerful. And even though there are many other quotes throughout this book, I think this one was the most meaningful and hit closer to home to me. A little more about the book. The book talks about how the followers respond better to request when it's more personal. For an example, it talked about in the book that followers are taking ownership in things rather than someone talking about someone else's ownership, such as like they talk about their own car rather than someone else's car. It means more things. It means more to them, and they will have pride. So hopefully, that they are trying to get this across, that people can take more pride in their work and not worry about someone else's work as much as they should. And this also goes into behavior and reactions from the leaders and how they are treated, the employees are treated, and the way that employees treat the leaders. And this is how a successful business is run, is when all this is a well-oiled machine, so to speak, and running together. The sources are in the book. Many hours of research have been put through this. There are numerous of research things that I didn't even not even put in here. It would take me forever. Actions taken by the followers were usually in response, depending on the situation, was how they were approached by the leader. I think that's important because many situations have got out of hand by people taking things the wrong way when they are approached. Not everybody means to come across rude or defensive about things. Some people just take things the wrong way. I think you need to step back and kind of view of how you would think how you were being talked to if that you were approached in that situation, and not always go on a defensive thing, but that will resolve the situation rather than create one. The information about this book that we've learned through the semester, I think it's been very accurate. Lessons we've learned about leadership and the roles that they take. The thing that I liked about the book is that it pertained to the followers, and how they should be treated in different ways. And you can tell them they might not be doing something right, but I think that positive reinforcement and constructive criticism is a way that no one's feelings will get hurt, and it helps the team get along and better themselves. I think the biggest strength of this book is that it was written from another perspective than a so-called leader. I think that's not many books that I've read do this, but I think a weakness of the book is they overemphasize on certain information, but didn't elaborate on other information such as solutions to fix problems of leadership. So I think that this is where kind of the downfall on that book was. But other than that, it was a great book that I enjoyed reading, and I'm not really a book reader. I would definitely recommend this book to someone who is in a leadership position because it really does talk about how people who you're dealing with, you're leading, view you. I would also recommend this book to anyone wanting to become a leader. I think that not everything is about telling people what to do and how to do it. I think how people view how you respond to certain situations, that's what makes you a leader. Um, why did I choose this book? The reason I chose this book is because of the perspective that it has. It has different perspectives than the typical leadership book. I also feel that this book pertains to my current position. I'm trying to get a leadership position. Um, I'm not there yet. Um, I think that this, like I said, it just hits close to home. It was very well written, easy to read, um, and I think that people should kind of take a step back and look at things rather than just going head first into things. I think we would do a lot better off in our economy sometimes on that deal. But I would recommend this book to anybody, and